Turn that damn juice on!
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson. I appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, Andrew Ellis out this week, so we got a loaded show for you here on this Thursday as we're going to get into all the things going on with Razorback football, basketball, stuff going wrong with the SEC and get into some of that conversation. We also got our heavy hitters that we're going to get into. We'll also have a few vibe checking of the chat presented by Basis Health and, of course, have some fun with Jake Crane of Crane & Company as he's going to join us for a little bit and talk about Razorback football this upcoming season and where they need the energy from. But either way, Curtis, happy Thursday, man. How's the vibes over at the Wilkerson household?
Vibes are good. Here's the problem with the new intro, John. It's too good. Like, there are some days we're going to need to come in here with a little bit of fire and brimstone. There's some days where the vibes might not be great. You know, we might have to talk about some uncomfortable things. We might be sad for a different reason. It is impossible to do that at the open of the show when we've got an intro that's so fire. I mean, it's really good, man. You sent me the video just to check it out and everything before we started playing it on the show yesterday. And I find myself watching it like once an hour.
Heck yeah.
Sometimes it's like crack or, caffeine or something. Maybe when you get to the point in your day where you need a little pick me up and it's like, all right, I got 1 minute here. How am I going to get myself going? Play that intro, man. It's legit.
Yeah. No, thanks, man. No, I mean, every time I listen to it, my nipples get so hard, my clothes want to explode. But it's the excitement level that we have. And also, too, I may have to make a sad one, like an intro, like have, Sounds of Silence by, not the Simon and Garfunkel version, but, the version by Disturbed. Really get down in the dumps. So if Arkansas is going to lose some bad games, maybe we have that going on. I don't know. Yeah. Just whatever the mood is. Yeah, whatever the mood is, have an intro set for that mood, and then we can just go from there.
Exactly.
We may do that, but no, appreciate it. And I know we're going to have a lot of things to get into today, but we got to start the show paying some homage to a very sad day today because an icon, a legend, Hulk Hogan, as pictured there with Big Red, passes away at the age of 72. Hate seeing this. I know we obviously talk a lot about the Razorbacks and obviously pulling up a picture of him with a Razorback and being at that game. I was at that game as well. I'm not sure if you were, Curtis, but either way, just sad news to see of an American icon like Hulk Hogan in his passing.
Yeah, it is, man. I think a lot of folks in our age range or older than us even, they were introduced to wrestling through Hulk Hogan. I mean, he is the icon. If you ask a million people out there, first wrestler that comes to your mind, most people would say Hulk Hogan. And even those who didn't even get to experience him, I almost think of him as like the Michael Jordan of wrestling, because people who are younger than us, who've only lived in the LeBron era or whatever, a lot of folks would still say, oh, Michael Jordan. Oh, yeah, well, Jordan was the GOAT, whatever. Having not even lived through that era. And that was just kind of the thing with Hulk. I was a Hulkamaniac when I was a youngster. That's what got me hooked. Like him, Macho Man, Randy Savage, Lex Luger, all those guys. I love that and got me going, like the old WCW days, and then the merger all the way through NWO and everything else. Like I was hooked on that stuff, man. And it was a big part of my upbringing. I had the Hulk Hogan. I got the wrestling ring as a child, like the toy one, and then all the figures. I'd have the Royal Rumble. I'd put it in the bathtub, man. I've had 30 wrestling figures in there, and we'd see who would win. It was usually Hulk Hogan around my household. Okay. So it's sad. I know his post-wrestling existence was a little bit different, a little bit controversial perhaps, but was definitely an icon for those who were sickos in that space for sure, and a recognizable figure. And it's sad. It's 71, 72, however old he was there. That's not as old as it once was. So when you hear someone go that early, it's kind of like, man, it's too bad.
Yeah. Especially, I guess, according to the reports, he died of cardiac arrest in his home. So yeah, just tough to see. But as far as the wrestling thing goes, because we're going to talk a little bit about that with our summer topics. I don't want to allude to too much, but I will say that it was something when I was growing up as a kid, I didn't really even know what it was in reality. But I just remember, maybe it was because as a kid, Hulk Hogan's such an easy thing to say. Like Randy Macho Man Savage is kind of hard to say when you're a first grader. Like it's not something that just comes to mind. But like Hulk Hogan was easy, distinct looked. He had skin like a hot dog, and it was just I don't know. There's just something about him, man. That was had aura. That's when you know you have aura. When you're like a kid and you don't know why, but you're like, that guy's cool. It's just he's cool. And so, but yeah, really, really sad to see. And after Ozzy Osbourne yesterday too, it was like, man, we've lost a couple of legends and some icons. I don't think Ozzy Osbourne ever came to a Razorback game, but I will say they play War Pigs a lot of times, and hopefully they bring that back in honor of Ozzy Osbourne, lead singer of Black Sabbath. So, but yeah.
I bet they will. I hadn't really thought about that. I see Kingsley in the chat. He says they say it comes in threes, and there's a weird and uncomfortable truth with that. So hopefully that's not the case. But yeah, a couple of icons, man, in back-to-back days there. It's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. So we'll pay some more homage to that, and I know we'll get to some of the chats dealing with that as well. But yesterday, Curtis, we had a really good discussion talking about the side of things with the new ruling, if you will, of how the collectives are going to be used nowadays, and things that are like moving forward and how it's going to be done. Which I know we'll get into other things too, but I wanted to go back to that discussion because we talked about Arkansas and how there were reports, and what I've been hearing too is that, and I've been hearing for months. I don't want to be that guy. I didn't even mean to be like that, but I've kind of felt. I think most people have felt that the Arkansas edge was going to be going away, and then you sent it to me yesterday. It's like they put out a tweet that the Arkansas Edge did about, talking about a player and stuff. And I'm like, okay, with all the rules, is that maybe like a tweet? Is like, say, hey, no, we're still here. Like with the ruling, we're still here. I just wondered, like, is it going to be something to where they're going to try to get that, bring that back? Is it something that they're going to continue their partnership with Blueprint Sports? Are they going to try to create something completely new? I don't really know, but from what I've heard leading up to that point and what we saw with that ruling, I'm really curious of what their next move is going to be, because all things pointed to them getting rid of it. But now with the latest, I don't know if you can afford really to get rid of it.
It's alive. Yeah. How about that, man? It's like the Undertaker raising up from the ring there. Eric Musselman raising up from the locker room floor, put the Arkansas Edge logo on somebody's face and tweeted out immediately. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it's going to look like. As soon as we saw that the collectives and everything were going to be a thing, we saw Pete Nakos and Ross Dellinger and all those guys putting it out a few days ago. I immediately quote tweeted it with the eyeball emojis, and I tagged Arkansas Edge. I was like, let's get them going a little bit, because if I was them, if I was running that situation over there, or at least their socials, that's exactly what I would have done. I would have quote tweeted from that account with the eyeball emojis, or the Razorback mascot rising up from the ashes or whatever, because that's funny. You know what I mean? Like, it gets a little bit of engagement. It gets people going. I don't know if it's going to be Arkansas Edge. Like you said, I don't know if it's going to be Blueprint or if they rebrand through something else, if they change the structuring, if they clean house, if they rename it. Maybe they need to. You need to get the stank off of you and do something a little bit different there. They've got to come up with something here and launch something here sooner rather than later. In my opinion, it should have already been done. I don't know if they were blindsided or not by it over there, but the quicker you do something and spin it, like the biggest thing for me we talked about yesterday was, whether you have a plan or not, change the narrative. You have to embrace this now. You just have to. You don't have a choice. And that's an opportunity for them to say, hey, we got this. This is what we're doing. Yo, we thought this was going away. It's still going to be a thing. Let's capitalize on it. Let's get this sucker rolling, and let's make some money and see if we can close this gap a little bit. I don't know that they're going to approach it that way. I'm just saying what I would do if it was me.
Yeah, no, I'd see. I would be the same way and kind of embracing it all. And for those of you who don't know, this was just simply the tweet that they put out where they said the countdown is on until football season is here, which I thought was kind of an interesting way to word it. The countdown is on until football season is here, or whatever. It probably makes sense. It just sounds weird to me. But either way, it says, I can't wait to do some backflip celebrations from Bradley Shaw, who is the linebacker for Arkansas. And they put up this graphic talking about what his socials are, his his hobby, favorite food, special skills, pregame ritual, and a dream brand to work with. So it was just funny because, not that there's anything wrong with this tweet. I'm not hating for the sake of hating. I was just kind of like, all right, so what is this like? Is this something that people need to, like, where's the call to action? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a collective, where's the call to action? Is it, hey, this is what things are going to go to, or hey, the dream brand to work with, Nike, over here if you need it. I was just curious the timing of it and the tweet of it. I'm not hating. I was just curious of, like, so what was the point? Like, what's the call to action here?
That's the question there. And hey, I'm all for giving Bradley Shaw some pub. That's cool. Yeah. In fact, he's probably next up in that linebacker room, right behind Sori and Dix. So you need to get to know the man a little bit. Put the information out there. That's great. But yeah, for that to be the thing for Arkansas, they're not. I hope they're not naive to it over there. A lot of people think it's going away. And if they don't think it's going away, they think that this thing has been an abject failure. And so it's like, if you're going to continue to roll with Arkansas Edge and now all of a sudden you need those donations, you need to be raising those funds and everything else. I don't know that this is the tweet or the message or the first thing that needs to be sent out after this ruling came down. I probably would have gone with something a little bit different. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think I'm with you in the camp of I'm not sure what the point was of that. And that's not a knock on the player or anything at all. And I understand what they were doing, but it's all about the timing and the message that needs to be sent, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was really wanting to bring up, because it's not like if it was a scheduled tweet, which, by the way, a lot of these tweets, folks, that come from Razorback accounts and whatnot, they're scheduled. It's not like just someone pops on and is like, yeah, I'm typing this right now and hit send. Like sometimes it may be the case, but a lot of times it's just scheduled. I've scheduled tweets all the time. I know, Curtis, you schedule tweets. So it would have been one thing, but then it was just the timing, because of after the fact of this being announced, you're kind of like, all right, Arkansas Edge, what you got? It's like, Bradley Shaw. All right, cool. You know, it was like hoping we would see like what this means for you and what this means for the Edge and all of that. So
did we, I have his noties on, but I have a lot of noties on. We have not had a Hunter Yurachek acknowledgement of what's going on here yet.
No, of course not. Okay. Of course not. I mean, no, because I have his noties turned on too. And I mean, when there's not any teams to say good luck to or congrats or anything like that, and his Twitter's kind of dead, you know, for the most part during the summertime.
And I also know that the conversations of exactly what it's going to look like are still taking place. So I'm not going to sit up here on my soapbox and be like, he has to say something. What's going on over there? No, but I think once all the details are outlined of what exactly this is going to look like for the time being, at least, I'd probably, quote tweet it and say something.
Yeah. Well, and again, I know we're always going to get accused of everything, but I don't care. It's, to me, he's been one of those guys that when he hasn't tweeted about the congratulations are going to look, it's been a lot of whatever's been going on with the raffle that they did, or I guess what was it, the tweet they had about the lawyers and doing this for, I'm sure how much money they sharing with the student athletes on this. So it's like he's up to date on it, and he's obviously got opinions on it. So that's where it's like, if you get used to somebody putting out a tweet, this is my thing. If you get used to somebody putting out a tweet or having a discussion on certain things, and when those things have some sort of change or adjustment, then I expect you to have a response to it. And so when you don't, it's a little bit odd. Like it'd be like anything. Say if there's somebody who's covering recruiting and Arkansas has a guy who commits, and every single time that there's been someone commits, that somebody tweets out something about it, but then somebody commits and then nothing's tweeted, you're kind of like, so is there something wrong? Like going back to the thing with Razorback basketball when you had the three players. Yeah, like dude, it's still, I hate that, but it's so funny when Darian Ford, Joseph Pinion, and Barry Dunning were coming back. Well, the Razorback account didn't say anything, and everyone's like, oh, well, I remember I tweeted about that, and they're like, well, I mean, geez, they're not going to tweet out for every player. I'm like, well, they did for Jalen Graham, and they did for Trevin Brazil. So that's the thing, is like you get used to people responding to things, and when they don't, you start to be like, okay, so why not? Why wouldn't you do that?
I have a fun little side story that I don't care about sharing at this point, from what you were just talking about with the basketball program. And that was so interesting, where like Darian Ford, like he's riding horseback in the mean streets of Magnolia or whatever, and is like, coming back or whatever. As they went through all this production and everything else, and all those guys thought they were coming back. And you're right, we're really keeping an eye on the Razorback Twitter account. Like, is somebody going to retweet this? Are they going to post something? What's going on? And so, because I didn't know, and at the time when we're, Big J journalists and everything, it's like, you have to be careful about how you word things. You need to put a story out, but it's like, he is returning, or he has announced his intentions to return. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be very particular. But I do remember by the end of that year, it was like, yeah, Jalen Graham's out of here, dude. JG's just out of here. And there was no doubt in my mind the transfer portal story was written. And then when he announced his return, I remember reaching out to someone on that coaching staff who was no longer there and saying, oh, wow, JG's coming back. I didn't expect that. And I got in response, he is ? And I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? So that was probably, you know what? That should have been the first sign of like the kind of dysfunction that was going on over there, because the next year was the end, but not even knowing for sure if the guy's coming back and being equally surprised, like, really? He is? Okay, whatever. That was kind of crazy. But back to the stuff we're talking about there. My biggest thing with this is that, whether you're Sam Pittman or Hunter Yurachek or whoever, I think that this ruling, more than anything else, whether you have it figured out or not, whether you're going to be able to raise the money that you need or not for NIL for the collective, you have to embrace it now. You cannot pretend that it's the big bad wolf and it's coming to blow your house down like they have in the past. Like at this point, you just kind of have to change the tune, change the narrative, and get up with the times, or at least pretend you are. Fake it till you make it, if that's what you have to do. But I really hope that we don't hear any, well, this is bad for the sport, or this is not sustainable, or this isn't right, or I don't want to be on that side of things here if I'm a Razorback fan.
No. In fact, I agree. If the next thing I want to hear is that you're like, we're doing this and we're just dealing with it and embracing it, that's what I want to hear. Well, whether or not we hear it, I guess we'll find out here soon. But we'll have a lot of things to talk about, but want to remind everybody that we're brought to you by our friends over at BetSaracen. It's the #1 sports betting app in the state of Arkansas, not even close. And a lot of you are getting geared up for the Razorback football season. Well, start making some money on it. If you feel Arkansas is going to do great, they have specials on it. If they feel like they're not going to do so great, they got specials on those as well. They got all different types of future bets when it comes to SEC champions, college football playoff appearances, all of that great stuff. And you can check it out with BetSaracen by going to BetSaracen.com. You can also download the app on your iPhone or on your Android. It's BetSaracen, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. I know we'll get to your chats as well, but I did want to bring up something here about Sam Pittman, because, we always have things with talking season rankings and ratings and all of that. And, every outlet, or at least most outlets, are going to have their own rankings. I mean, we see that. Everyone's got an opinion on the matter. But there are certain ones that I don't feel like go further because they're so correct. It's more about comes from people who have been around the sport for a long time, a certain respect that comes along with it. And so CBS Sports ranked their SEC coaches, football coaches, plain and simple, just very direct. And I think most people could probably guess of who would be the top few coaches and everything. But anyways, it went through it all. And Sam Pittman, we'll just cut to the chase here. Sam Pittman was ranked 15th. He was 15th in the SEC, which is next to last. The coach being last is Jeff Lebby of Mississippi State. Now, if you want to know the national rankings, Sam Pittman's at number 57. And these rankings of what they had him at last year was 14th. So he's dropped one spot. But, we'll talk about some more about that, Curtis. But I know you sent it to me and we talked about it a little bit. But was this surprising? Is Sam Pittman really 15th in the SEC? I mean, if you're doing your own rings, is he really second to last in the conference right now?
I'm looking at these as we speak, and I'm trying to see who I would place him ahead of at this point. I know a lot of people would immediately point to like Mark Stoops, but he's honestly done a pretty solid job at Kentucky. If we're talking full body of work, last year was a disaster for him, but I don't know that I can justify that necessarily. Billy Napier hasn't been great over there. They seem to have turned a little bit of a corner last year. Towards the end of the season, I know they're projected to do some good things this year. I don't know if I could go that route. Hugh Freeze, full body of work. You can't put Sam Pittman ahead of him necessarily. Man, after what Clark Lee did, because that's probably who Pittman was ahead of last year, right? Was it?
Was.
Okay.
Yeah.
After what he did with that Vanderbilt team last year, it's hard not to give him a little bit of a bump and some benefit of the doubt. That could be one that could maybe quickly change. Brent Venables would be one where, it's Oklahoma, bro. And he hasn't really done too much there. But that's probably about right, man. I mean, I could have to kind of stretch it maybe to go to 13 or so. But I'd probably be right there, man, 14 or 15.
Yeah, I'm with you. And that's why I wanted to ask the question to see if maybe there's a different approach to it, maybe if there's a different way to go about it. But I'm struggling with you too. You just got to go off what you know lately. And for those that maybe be interested, because I thought this was fascinating, I went back, Curtis, and looked at previous rankings for previous years, and it's amazing how things change. Because in 2022, which was just 3 years ago, Sam Pittman was ranked 7th in the SEC among all the coaches in college football.
Okay,
and the ones that he was ahead, or that were ahead of him, Lane Kiffin was at 6. Mark Stoops was at Kentucky. How about that? Brian Kelly at LSU, Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, Kirby Smart, and then Nick Saban, of course. But point is it's ever changing, and coaches come and go and everything like that. But it's a matter of what you do and where you go up in the ranks. But this year with the SEC specifically, and some of the coaches that are being named, like you said, like Clark Lee, for sure. I mean, what he did last year and some of the games that he had, you're going to put him up there. Guys that were on the hot seat last year, Billy Napier, who found a way to kind of put it together and keep his job a little bit there. Hugh Freeze being slightly ahead. That's the only one that maybe I would say, are you basing it off of his career? Or are you basing it off of where he's at now? Because he's not had anything too crazy happen there at Auburn just yet. But the point is that it's a tough thing to be on that list and to be listed where you're at if you're Arkansas and if you're Pittman. You got to find ways to climb yourself out of it. But sheesh, after going on, here's where it's at, Curtis. You come off a 4-8 season going into the year, and you're ranked 14th. You go 6-6, 7-6 with the bowl victory, and you drop a spot.
Yeah,
that's what's tough about it, is you actually improved upon your season from where you were a year ago, but you didn't improve upon what your rankings were among, again, CBS Sports, but among the coaching rankings in the SEC.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I'm going to do my Kool-Aid sipping here for just a second. I will place Sam going into this year above Jeff Lebby, above Brent Venables, and above. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. 14. Okay. I'll go a little bit higher.
Okay. Yeah, I was actually going to say 14, and I'd even hear 13.
Me too.
14 would be, because I think Venables, and I think Hugh Freeze. I'm not.
Yeah, that's who I was debating there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think just because I know they got a tough deal of going up against Bama and Georgia and all those excuses and everything, but Hugh Freeze at Auburn has definitely not been what I was fearful that they would be when he got hired. Because I'm like, oh crap, man, he could really get it going. And he just hasn't yet. Now, is it going to be this year? We'll see. But given the circumstances and given the fact that boosters are just like, nah, we're not giving you any money, buddy, until you prove something to us. It's just kind of a toxic situation there.
Well, the other thing that's tough about it is it's, I guess if it's a power, if we're doing a power ranking, then it's just kind of like where you're at this particular point. Then I would hear Pittman over Freeze.
Yeah.
But if you're just talking about best coaches, period, then I wouldn't.
Correct.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Correct.
Because where Hugh Freeze is at going into year 3 at Auburn, yeah, that's dicey. I think I would take Sam Pittman's situation actually. But just big picture with his career, his track record, everything he's done, I don't think there's any conversation to be had at all.
No, not at all. I agree there, because, like the list I brought up from 2022 had Jimbo Fisher at like number 4. You wouldn't even put him close to that right now, but it's about what's the single talk and what's the single season that's upcoming there, which on top of that too, just to get into it, but I know same thing, talk about hot seat rankings. And USA Today, they claim they were the first one to ever start hot seat rankings. I don't know if that's true. I thought it was just a website called College Football Coaching Rankings or Hot Seat, I thought. But that's what they claim. Either way, they have Sam Pittman as number 1 in the SEC, not even close, hottest seat. Like,
do they really?
They said that no SEC coach has more pressure than the lovable Arkansas leader, like how they put that. But said that, however, the program rebounded a bit last year, 7-6. But since 2021, when they finished in the top 20, it hasn't been stellar. Expectations are higher for the Razorbacks than a 30-31 record in 5 years. So
I just had to strongly push back against that. Like, I'm not saying that Sam Pittman's not on the hot seat. If they, I'll put it this way: they're projected 14th in going into the SEC. If they finish 14th, he probably gets fired.
Yeah,
because what does that mean? 4-8, 5-7, something like that, probably overall. I don't think that gets it done. But I don't think he has as much pressure on him as Hugh Freeze. I don't think he has as much pressure on him as Brent Venables. I really don't. That's interesting that they think that. Maybe I'm just wrong about it, but I think there's a difference in like the national perception or whatever of where something might be based on the program versus the reality of the situation when you take into account money, the administration, their expectations, and everything like that. I think that's different. Sam Pittman, in my opinion, could get away with a year that Venables and Hugh Freeze wouldn't be able to. Therefore, I think there's less pressure on him.
Which that is exactly what I was going to say too, because pressure is a lot different for which school you're at. And just because say if a big if, but say if Sam Pittman got fired after the season and Hugh Freeze got fired after the season, say if both of them did, I don't think that it was because they had the same amount of expectation, same amount of pressure, and it ended in the same result. I think it's like you said with Hugh Freeze, they're like on the clock, big people on the clock being like, all right, this is it right now. You got to do this right now. Where at Arkansas, because of the administration and where it's at, and from what we've understood and heard, it's more of kind of not kid gloves, but it's a little bit less of a fire, less of a burning desire to be like, you better do this right now. Or I don't feel that vibe coming from Arkansas for Pittman, where it's win or go home or win or die type of deal. It's you need to for sure. I mean, it's there, it's obvious, but it's not exuding this energy of that type of pressure like it is with Oklahoma and Auburn, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, no, it absolutely does. And then I'll bring up, since we're talking about it, the various coaching rankings and hot seat things. And I sent this to you last night, but the Bet Online, the odds for the first Power 4 coach to get fired this year via Bet Online. It's and the SEC coaches on the list. Brent Venables has the highest odds, 6-1. Then it's Sam Pittman at 7-1. Then it's Hugh Freeze at 8-1. So like those guys are all right in there in the same ballpark. The three that we're really talking about there, you could probably put them in any order. I would just put Sam Pittman at the least likely, given everything that we just talked about there. But yeah, like Billy Napier 12-1, Mark Stoops 20-1, Jeff Lebby 25-1, and then after that, it's just pretty much not going to happen. Somebody, unless it just goes way off the rails or there's a scandal or something like that.
Yeah, which we couldn't put it past them. So let me ask you, how many coaches do you think in the SEC don't finish the season, barring something crazy, but just based on performance?
Don't finish the season, or like, don't come back for another?
Finish the season, like fired in the middle of the season.
Oh, 0.
Okay.
I don't think there's going to be a single SEC coach that gets fired in season. But I think you're going to have, if you set the over under at 2.5 for coaching changes in the SEC, I think I go over.
Okay. I was going to put the over under at 0.5 for that, because
I think there's going to be some shakeups.
Yeah, I do too. I think you're going to see, because what was it then? Actually, the year that Pittman got hired, I think, what was it? 5 SEC jobs got filled, and
Kiffin, Leach,
before Texas. It was before Texas and Oklahoma, because it was Lane Kiffin to Ole Miss, Mike Leach to Mississippi State, Eli Drinkwitz to Missouri, Sam Pittman to Arkansas, and I want to say it was Beamer to South Carolina. Maybe
that feels right.
Yeah, it was either that or
when was Jimbo?
Jimbo was like 2018, I think.
Oh, he was okay. Yeah. Oh, that might have been during the Morris part of things.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, there was like 5, and this past year there were none. It's kind of weird. So it's ever changed. So it's like those contracts. All right, starts now. Everybody in that 5-year deal that they had, like, where's it at? Because you mentioned some of them, but I could see Mark Stoops that being his final year at Kentucky, maybe depending on the buyout stuff. But Hugh Freeze, Brent Venables, Sam Pittman. I mean, there's really a lot of potential there to have a pretty massive shakeup in the SEC after this season.
I hope that. I mean, just in general, I hope that this is the case, but also given the landscape of the SEC compared to last year when there were no coaching changes, I hope that Arkansas just has a good year. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we don't have to worry about this again until next year, because the last thing that you want if you do have to make a coaching change, is to be doing it when there are other big name programs that might even be more appealing than you who are out there. You don't want to be low on the totem pole or in the pecking order for the coaches that are out there. Like if you were going to do it, honestly, last year probably would have been the year to do it, or in the future. This ain't the one, man. So, like I said, you want that anyway. Like you never want, there's never a situation where it's like, oh, well, it'd be nice if Arkansas just sucked and they could just officially change their coach. No, hell no. I don't want that at all. I want them to win 11 games, man. Yeah. But at the bare minimum, you got to do enough to generate momentum and stick around, because I do not think that this is the year where you would want to be having those conversations and those changes. You could be right back behind the 8 ball like you have been with your last couple hires here. And that just, you can't have it.
Yeah. Cause people forget, Curtis, I know you remember, but that year when Sam Pittman was hired at Arkansas and all the overall, Arkansas was the first team in the SEC to fire their coach, Chad Morris.
Yep.
And they were the last team to fill the vacancy. That's a bad deal. You cannot do that. You can't be that team where if you made a move first, not saying that you have to, but if you made your move first, you cannot be the last one to add to it, because then it comes across as other people said no, or you're handling it poorly, or you didn't do your due diligence, or you didn't prepare, whatever it is. You just can't allow something like that to happen. But it's just weird, because I know you feel the same way. You don't want anyone to get fired, lose their job, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, they get taken care of big time if they lose their jobs. Just ask Jimbo and all that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. Based on everything that we just talked about, literally everything that we've talked about, actually tying it all together here, a large part of the reason why I felt like, I'm not saying that I feel like Sam Pittman's safe going into the year, but I just felt like he had more runway than maybe people anticipate, was partly because of the whole conversation about we were not on a level playing field, but now we are. And so it's almost like, all right, well, let's give him a full cycle to operate under that standpoint. And it might not be just this year, but a full recruiting class and another deal in the portal with this revenue share on even playing field. And it's like, okay, let's see what you can do when all the stakes are equal there. And that was a big part of it for me, because otherwise it's like, well, damn, he's been waiting on this. He finally gets it, and you guys are just going to throw him out to the curb. That kind of stinks, from some standpoint there. Now, with that changing again, I don't know if that moves the goalposts at all in any direction in terms of pressure being ratcheted up or whatever. But I do think it's interesting to think about, because the stakes have changed just a little bit, or maybe a lot of it, honestly, over the course of the last couple of days, just with that ruling.
No, that's a great point, because I think when you're dealing with the uncertainty of what college athletics has become, and you base it on your decision, whether to keep a coach or fire a coach or whatever, on one certain thing, and then that one certain thing changes or is adjusted, do you suddenly feel the same? Do you suddenly still have the same expectation? Or in some cases, which is what I have argued in my own opinion, this is just my opinion, that there have been cases where the university and the administration has kind of set up Sam Pittman to fail in some regards. Do you just kind of chalk it up to that and make him the sacrificial goat, where it's like, well, sure, you got to win. It's like, well, you kept him on, and you were going to support him with this, but then this didn't happen. So, right. I mean, are you just gonna be like, well, that's the way it goes sometimes, buddy. Sorry. I mean, how are you going to approach it? I think that's an important thing for this administration for when their decisions come along. Mm-hmm. So I get it. But I'll still say that with what has been going on, I know we'll get to your chats, but what's been going on with the current state of SEC football and the chaos that it is, it's kind of almost hard to keep up with. But I will ask you real quick before we move on, get to the chat, Curtis. I know they'll probably have it come out, but where would you have Cal among SEC coach rankings right now?
Fourth.
Okay. That's fair. I was going to say third.
Yeah. Gosh, it's tough, man, because it's really hard for me to put Todd Golden over John Calipari just because of the gap in experience and everything like that. He did just win a national title, but Cal has one. So I really think he's a great coach. I'm not going to condone the other things that he might be up to. But then, he'd be right there in that top conversation, I think, with guys like Bruce Pearl, who I really think is a great coach. Nate Oates, I know we hate him, but kind of hard to argue, everything he does at a really high level there. Regular season Rick, but he's had a hell of a career. That's kind of tough for me, man, because there are guys who literally are doing great right now, and they're young, they're new to this. And then you have the old heads that have been great for so long, but you might question some of the things that they've done lately, like Rick Barnes with the postseason stuff. They've been like back-to-back Elite Eights. So he's kind of gotten past that narrative a little bit. Cal with the early exits, but he just made a Sweet 16. It's almost like some of these guys that you felt like were trending in the wrong direction have like they're rejuvenated. You know what I mean? Like they're back on the rise a little bit. So I think I'd probably have him top 5 for sure. I'd probably go 3 or 4, I think, for Cal.
Yeah. I was always looking at it. I think I mentioned this the other day of how many coaches would I trade straight up for in the SEC right now. And I mean, I'm as big of a Cal fan as anybody, but if you had a gun to my head, if I would rather have, Nate Oates or John Calipari, it's like, man, I don't like Nate Oates. I don't like that. But at the same time, dude's good. And he's been pretty consistent. Bruce Pearl kind of the same way. I like Bruce Pearl a lot more than I do Oates, but what if it was a straight up trade right now? Because you got to think about longevity. It's like, maybe look at that. But Golden's kind of him winning a title so early is just so dumb. Because now I'm like, so is he good, or is it just one? Was it an Ed Orgeron 1 year flash in the pan type thing where it just all came together? I guess we'll find out. But yeah, it's like tough not to put him up there because he just won the title at the same time. It's just the complete body of work is really hard for me to just automatically put him like, number one, because he won a title.
Yeah, like 3 years ago or something, you were coaching at San Francisco, man. So it's,
Yeah. It's like what was the coach Hurley at UConn. I mean, granted, he won 2 in a row, so that definitely helps. But, it was kind of one of those deals to where, all right, well, he's at UConn and that helps and everything. Then Todd Golden, I honestly truly thought, and I got to give Todd Golden credit, I truly thought that Florida was never going to be anything because they just had Billy Donovan and that was it. Like they were never going to be what they were once, but proven wrong. They've won 3 titles in the past 20 years.
Must be nice.
Yeah, I mean, just stupid. 2 different coaches, either way. All right, so let's get into your chat, folks. We appreciate everybody tuning in. And, of course, the vibe checking of the chat is presented by our friends at Basis Health, where they are changing the way that healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. A doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and so much more. It's Basis Health. They're here for you when and where you need them the most. Learn more at basishealth.org today. Shout out to our guy, Dre, for being a partner with us here at Inside Arkansas each and every day. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the chat because I'm sure it's lively and makes a lot of sense. Let's see. I just want to bring up, because people bring up their food. Getting down with some firm chicken at Cane's.
Love that. Respect the Raising Cane's. I get it. It's a slim chicken area here in Northwest Arkansas, but you can still give love to the other bird. And listen, I'm not going to speak for Inside Arkansas. My views are not reflective of this company's, but I will speak for the Pod of the Palace. We are flaccid chicken deniers. And I like a little bit of crisp on my bird, man. I just do. Yeah. And we've talked about this in the Discord. We've talked about it on this show in the past. I'm sure we will on these members only streams. But just having some, I don't know, and it might just be my experience. Like there's a particular burger joint in town. I'm not going to name it because I want to.
Fair.
We might go in business with them, but that people just swear by. Like, man, it's the best out there. It's the best in the States, the best in the world. And I've just had 3 not good experiences there. I'm sure it's great. It just hasn't been for me. For whatever reason, every time I go to Slim's, man, it's just the chicken's it's just tiny. There's just very little breading on there. It's floppy. It's just not my preference on the chicken. And then I hear so much slander about my friends over at Raising. There's no seasoning. Yes, there is. What are you talking about? It's crispy. I just like it. So when somebody gives Cane's a little bit of love, I got to show some appreciation.
Well, I'll say this real quick because I know this is exactly what everyone tuned in to hear. But I am a Slim's guy, just being honest. And it's not that I don't like Cane's. I just prefer Slim's. But I'm also not one of these people that is going to deny the fact that every time I'm driving down MLK, I don't see the line at Raising Cane's. Like it's a line. People love it.
Yeah.
So There's the reason why people don't love crap chicken, like if they're
Right.
just waiting in line to eat it.
Now, what I will say about Slims is that their chicken sandwiches are fire. Any of
Great.
them. I really like those. And um, low key, their wings. Have you done their wings?
Yes.
They're
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
They're good. You think you got to go to an actual wing joint to get some good wings there, but no, Slim's got some good ones.
They know what's going on. Do
Uh-huh.
business with the Slims. We'll gladly have you on. Let's see. Heartbroken Hog says, I don't think the U of A believes any longer that Arkansas Edge can be a success. I think that's obvious.
Yeah, I mean, it just, again, like it's not being a hater or being like, or it just hasn't worked, man. I mean, this has not been a good thing. And there's really no way to deny that with some of the failed experiments there, the way it's just run through director after director after director. The whole operation behind it, Blueprint, doesn't seem like that in general is going particularly well. So yeah, I mean, there's a whole heck of a lot of question marks there. You very well may be right there, Heartbroken Hog.
Yeah. Also, Gray Wolf says Hunter's dislike of NIL has put us behind the 8-ball. We need a forward-thinking, aggressive AD. Hunter is not going to change the system by protesting against the new ways of college sports. And, as far as you're saying, we need a new AD and all that, like, yeah, I mean, that's your opinion and all that. But to your point on the aggressiveness, that has been one of my biggest concerns, because I know in the beginning of NIL, Arkansas was doing very well in NIL in the beginning stages. And how I always put that, and if everybody, because people are like, how do you know? It's like, well, I hear things, but if you don't believe me, here's always a great indicator of how good you are dealing with NIL, at least here recently. It's about retention. Are you getting the players that are great for you and you're getting them to come back? People, I know it's weird now, but I know you remember, Curtis, KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders were hot commodities off of that 2022 year, and they came back. I don't have a really strong doubt that people came in, was like, hey man, we'll give you $1 million over here. And they're like, you know what? $1 million sounds great, but I'm going to play over here for Arkansas for free because I love the Hogs. Like, no, like you could tell by retention. And that was the case. And then this past year, guess what? No retention. And it's kind of a good indication of it. So it started off right, but it very much crumbled quickly to where I felt like you were one of the ones that was doing it well. And then now I'm like, you're not doing it at all, at least on the football side of things.
Yeah, it's interesting, like what they pick and choose to be on the forefront of versus being so resistant to, like being resistant to, the NIL and how that landscape has evolved, and that putting you behind the 8-ball, I think, is a good way to describe it there. But then being willing to be the first to say, what? We paid out this NIL and this dude dipped on us. We're suing you, and we're going to try to get that money back. You know what I mean? A lot of places choose the opposite. You know what I mean? Like, right or wrong, because at the end of the day, you have to get the talent in here. You have to get the players. You have to get the guys who are capable of coming in and winning games, drawing interest, generating the revenue because people want to watch them play. And success yields that kind of stuff, ticket sales, merchandise, all those different things. And when you're kind of doing the opposite of, we're actually very resistant to this whole thing about you guys making as much money as you possibly can. Oh, and by the way, if we pay you and you don't hold up your terms of the contract, which, hey, I get it. Trust me, I do. But we're going to sue you to try to get that money back. When other places aren't operating that way, it makes them, on the surface, if you just take those things, seem like a more appealing destination than Arkansas. That's all.
Exactly. And Kenny, I don't know if he's trolling. He probably is, but he's like, how can you say no retention when we retain some of our top talent?
What are you talking about?
You didn't. Now, are you talking about basketball? Okay, sure. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, basketball has been great. I mean, you got Talon back, but I don't know that there was a huge tampering market for him.
No.
Going into last season, but we're not making shit up here.
Yeah.
I mean, they had like 40 guys enter the transfer portal, a lot of starters, who are gone. And we can do the argument all day about whether or not Arkansas will be better off with the new guys that they have and all, and that could all be true, but acting like they didn't have this mass exodus here It's just not rooted in reality.
Yeah. Well, especially exodus of a bunch of players you wanted to choose to, like, it was one thing when the offensive line was awful in 2023 and you lost all of them to the portal. Did anybody be like, oh man, what's going on? Everyone's like, oh, thank goodness. But I don't hope, and maybe some people said it. I was like, I wasn't saying that about Jalen Braxton or even Luke Has, which I know he got hurt and everything, but him or Patrick Kudus or Brad Spence. I would love to have Brad Spence still on the team, and he's not. I just feel like there's just no way you can. Isaiah Satania is one I'll always still forget that I guess he's at Oklahoma, right? If I'm not mistaken. But, there's a lot of players that I would gladly put on the team, but it was a massive amount of them at one time that ended up happening. Mm-hmm. Let's give a shout out to Razorback. Appreciate the super chat, man. He says, do y'all think Hunter Yurchek would trade Pittman for Lashley right now if he could? I mean, I don't think so because Pittman
would he? Probably not. Would I? Yeah, no disrespect.
But I mean, Lashley was in the playoff last year. So just saying, it's like you said, no disrespect, but it's just reality. But I don't know if Yurchek would or not. It depends on if he could get Pittman at the same price, right, and also not have to do anything more with the spending, then maybe. I don't know.
Right.
But
yeah, and okay, Kenny, I love you, buddy, and I appreciate you for being here and being in the chat. You're just naming everybody that ever returned to this roster, but you can't do the thing where you're like, well, yeah, Satania left, he was a starter, but he wasn't really that good. While also one of the first examples you pointed out was Braylon Russell returning, who was not a starter and was not very good for Arkansas last year. You can't just pick and choose here to fit your narrative, man. Nobody said that the entire team left. Hell, but Sam Pittman himself, I mean, this is stuff that comes out of his mouth, man. Mm-hmm. It's not us making this up. We didn't create a fake transfer portal here. But when Sam Pittman is literally standing in front of a microphone and saying, well, yeah, this is going on throughout the country, but it seems like it's hitting us harder here at Arkansas. It seems like it's more here. He said that.
Yeah.
So not only do the numbers back that up, Sam Pittman's mouth backs it up. I mean, this is not us pushing a narrative. Yeah. This is not negativity. It's not making things up. It's just reality. Okay. Yeah. And they've gone out and got a bunch of guys in the portal. And like I said, hopefully they're better for it. But to pretend that it's not an issue, that they're going to have, 50 some odd, maybe even more than that, new guys on this roster this season. It's not reality, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's even like, I believe, with Pittman even used the example of Luke Has, where he's like, I understand Razorback fans being upset about Luke Has. I was upset. He's like, I wanted to keep him, but what I gathered from him is they could afford him. So it's not. So that was another thing. He's like, it wasn't like, you can go ahead, we don't want you anymore. It was like, no, they wanted to keep some of these guys. They just didn't have the setup to do it.
And in some cases, and it's not always like, they chose. There are some guys who hit the portal that it wasn't that big of a deal. Like guys who weren't going to play here, whatever. Like that's all fine. That happens. There are guys that they wanted to keep who left because they didn't want to be here anymore, or because they couldn't pay them. All those things are true.
Yeah, yeah. Not every player is the same situation, But I do know, real quick before we move on, just to that point, I do know for a fact that Sam Pittman this past year met with, because every coach does this, like an end of year meeting with every player. And in one day, he met with 42 players, which is pretty much half the scholarship brought. 42 players he met with them, and 41 of them said, I need more money. Now, you could say that's wrong, that's stupid, we don't want those people in. You could say all that all they want, but that's also the reality, because people are trying to get theirs. And, Pittman, it's not like they're just a bunch of people that only certain ones want to get paid more and they leave just because they're looking for the dollar. It's like the whole team was that way. And I think a lot of cases teams are that way. It's unfortunate, but it's the way it is. I do like this from Hickory Hog. He says, what if the U of A football account put up a video of Pittman getting on a bus? He sits down and says, you're still here. And the camera turns and it's Yurchek standing on the bus.
Yeah. Well, we've been down there. Please, no more of those videos. No more of those videos. I'm begging you. Yeah. And Kenny here, good grief, man. Talking about what you're saying about all these guys asking for more money, but did they deserve the money? The question is not whether or not they deserve the money. It's whether someone else was willing to pay them the money.
Yep.
And in a lot of cases, they did. And now they're gone. And so Arkansas made that decision and they've allocated whatever resources they had elsewhere. So we'll see what it looks like. But it's not about what you deserve in this life, man. It's about what somebody's willing to give you. You are worth what someone's willing to pay you. It's just the way it is. And maybe they get burnt over there. And don't start using the Luke Haas thing as an example. The kid got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We're not going to shit on him for getting hurt and hurting his ankle. That just sucks, man. That's tough.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of the way that it is. The situation here is that other teams, maybe they're overpaying or they're just paying more to pluck guys off of your roster that they think can come help them. Who is Arkansas plucking off someone else's roster to come help them? That's what I want to know. That's what I'm more interested. That's what I want to see more of personally.
Yeah. And, I know we keep talking about it, but I look at it as these are players that left. And I'm like, if Ole Miss feels like those players are good enough to pay, then they should be good enough to play at Arkansas. If Brad Spence is Texas, a team that was in the title game, were they in the title game? No, they were in the college football playoff Final Four, but still, they were willing to play Brad Spence. So if he's good enough to go play at Texas, should not be good enough to play at Arkansas. And same thing with a lot of these. So, but.
Right. We probably paid around the same amount for some of the transfers, maybe some of them, but again, straight from the horse's mouth himself is that somebody asked for this amount of money and we decide we can't give it to him or we don't want to give it to him. We might be able to get 2 or 3 guys for that amount.
Mm-hmm.
So they moneyballed it here. It doesn't mean these guys aren't good, but again, man, we're operating in facts here, brother.
Yep. That's right. Well, on a lighter note, because this will be the last one I say for Kenny, because I know he's trolling. He's just like, John, how long did it take to do your hair that way? Okay, everyone leave my hair alone, all right? Okay, I need a haircut. I know. The salonist, because I'm sure that's what you guys are going to say, that he's on vacation, and I haven't been able to getting it early next week, so just deal with it, all right? This is all I got. Leave me alone, all right?
Salonist?
Or whatever it's called. What are they called?
I don't know.
Oh, I assume that's what... That's what people are going to say. They're like, John didn't go to a barber. He goes to there where they put the big globe on his head and dry it and, fill it up with some, whatever. And I was trying to get ahead of the game because I'm like, I know that's coming here later.
John, I haven't been to a barber in my adult life, man.
Yeah, must be nice.
I don't go there for the buzz cut, man. This is a homegrown operation over here.
Transplanted Texan said stylist. Thank you. Yes, that's what.
Okay. All right.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So. But yeah, well, we can't all be winners. All right. We got to do what we got to do. So anyways, also too, I have a few more here because I know we'll have some heavy hitters as well. But like Finch said, I wonder if John sometimes gets jealous of Curtis never waking up with a bad hair day. Man, is my hair look that crappy? My goodness, I was not expecting this. I usually just put it together before the show and run down here. Man, I guess it's just like looking... I just look like absolute AIDS over here, apparently, and just everyone's killing me for it. So
tough scenes, man.
My bad, man. My bad. Sorry.
Not all of us wake up like this, John.
I guess not. I'll start wearing hats and put a mask on. Let's see. Also, too, this comes from Brady. He says, I hope we win because we have a big time class coming in that will be gone if Sam is, and we could get Kane if we have a good year.
Yeah.
Well, Brady, I'm not bullying you or like getting mad at you, but I hate this argument for any year of any time. If you ever are saying, which I get what you're saying because you're hoping we win. I get that part.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying you say, no matter what happens, we got to keep Sam. But there are people that it would just drive me up a wall if you have a bad year. Like, we can't fire him because we got this class coming in. Don't like you're hitching if you want to fire coach. Don't ever look at a recruiting class coming in and be like, this is why we got to keep him because he's done a good job. Who cares? Who's to say if he could bring them in that they do anything, especially in football where freshman classes, good grief, most of them don't even play for a couple years. And if they do, there's probably going to be for another team anyways.
Yeah, no, it's true, man. It's hard to just in this era, it's hard to keep guys and develop them and get the most out of them and everything like that. I'm looking at 24/7 Sports right now, and I do see Arkansas ranked 8th overall in the SEC. But they've got 26 commits, man. And that's a lot for a class. It's a ton there. But only 5 4-stars out of the group. And as I look at it, that's not a lot relative to your peers. So if you look at the average commit ranking, like the average commit profile there, Arkansas's is at an 87.44. Like their average guy that's committed is an 87.44. That is 15th out of 16 in the SEC recruiting classes right now. So a lot of that ranking, it's held up by quantity over quality right now. Now, they're doing that strategically because I think they know that they're going to need to have a really big portal haul. So you bring in some of these high 3 stars or whatever that you feel like there's something there that you can develop and get something out of. But really the biggest thing we're talking about, like not changing coaches because of that or whatever. I don't think that this is the class to worry about that. What I will say is regardless of who the coach is, I look at 5 4-star guys right there, and you need to keep 5 4-star guys at all costs, whatever it takes, whether it's Sam Pittman or somebody else. Those are the guys. If you wind up losing a few from the rest, oh well.
Yeah. No, I see. I look at it the same way too. I do too. We'll have some chats for you as well as keeping it coming. We do appreciate it. Even the ones that are hating on my hairstyle, shut up. But we at least appreciate you watching regardless. We want to remind everybody that we're brought to you by our friends at Hickey and Hole Law. Listen, we know that divorce and custody cases are far too important to try and face alone, especially if you had bad hair days. You may want to divorce your husband because his hair sucks. Well, hey, listen, if you're going to do that, let Hickey and Hole help you out because they have all the tools needed to help you out in this regard. No matter what happens, it's going to be the best type of care that you're ever going to get, and they're going to do it the right way. So check them out because they're going to make sure that you're, as a client, are always going to be advocated for, and it's always going to be done in a diligent manner, consistent from start to finish. They have offices across the state of Arkansas, no matter what. If you're in the Northwest Arkansas area at Fayetteville, River Valley and Fort Smith, Central Arkansas and Little Rock, as well as Mena, call them today at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. Or you can check out their website at hickeyandhole.com, where you can also scan that QR code on your screen. It's Hickey and Hole Law. Things are about to get better. All right, and we'll continue on with a few chats because I know we'll have some heavy hitters too, but some of this is too good to pass up. But let's see. Hickory Hog also says Sam Pittman has never been the best coach on his own coaching staff. So sure, he's maybe 15th, but he does have to get some credit for his coordinator hires. 15th is close, though.
This is an interesting statement. I thought, because for the beginning stages there, he had Barry Odom, who, say what you want about Barry as a head coach and his resume and everything. He's worked his way back into the Big Ten there, though. So good on him. But it was a guy who had a lot of SEC head coaching experience, and Sam needed that early on. It's no fault of his own, man. And that was really good for him. And, and Kendall Briles there. And then now it's Bobby Petrino, who we all know his track record as a head coach, is there alongside Sam. And then you've got the up and comer where it was KB before, and then now it's Travis Williams. And so I think you do have to give him credit for the staffs that he put together. I think he understands the type of head coach he is the CEO type, as opposed to sometimes it'll be hey, this is a defensive minded football coach. He's the head coach, but he doesn't really need a defensive coordinator. I think Sam understands, where he's at as a head coach, and has put some good pieces around him. The Dan Enos era never happened. No. I'm just going to pretend that it never happened, but I will give him credit for that. It not even being the best coach on his own staff. That's an interesting way to put it. It sounds like an insult. But I would actually put that as a dub for Sam Pittman for being able to get some high quality coordinators around, because those guys wouldn't come here if they didn't feel like they would be, micromanaged or whatever. Like, they're allowed to do their job. Bobby famously, under Jimbo over there at Texas A&M was like, I'm learning new terminology and everything else. Like, he wasn't able to do his own thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different. I actually put that in a check in the pro column, I think, for Sam Pittman there.
No, I do too. Cause I felt like that's the toughest thing, I think, as a coach, because as a head coach, you need to be an egomaniac, and most of them are. And it's always your way or the highway. If you ever, I'm going to bring up Houston Nutt. There's too much positivity about Houston Nutt. I got to bring him down a peg or two. Houston Nutt with the whole Gus Malzahn situation. Folks, I know you may not remember specifically, but Arkansas's offense was atrocious for 2 straight years. And it had been bad for a bit. But luckily, they had a guy named Matt Jones that would overcome that. But the offense was just not good. They couldn't pass the ball. There was a lot of problems. And it was basically, hey, you got to hire Gus Malzahn, get these kids, or else you're fired. And he did. And it was a bad marriage because of, he's like, well, he never felt like, don't you remember the whole, I was a called play and I called it, Chuck? That was based because of him being an egomaniac, being like, see, people are hating on me, but that was a big time play. It's Jimbo Fisher, same thing. If you are a head coach, you're like, my way or the highway, my way's great. And if you get criticized and you're forced to bring someone in that you don't want to do or whatever, it's going to be bad. It's going to end poorly. And with Pittman, I give him full credit for doing something like that because his ego is not large enough to say, oh, no, I don't want this guy or this guy. He's like, I just want somebody to do it and do really good at it and give them that freedom. He's like, he'll have the final say. But I think that's why, whether you say it's good or bad, but I think that's why he's been able to have good retention of his assistant coaches. I mean, really, truly, comparatively speaking. Yeah, I mean, Barry Odom and Kendall Briles, both were his coordinators. Was it three straight years, I think? 3 straight? I mean, that was pretty good and impressive. And then Travis Williams kept thinking he was going to move on. He's still here. Bobby Petrino still here. The Enos thing we want to talk about. But, Deke Adams, done a good job. Marcus Woodson, I kept thinking maybe he was going to get a shot somewhere. He's still here. So the point is, say be critical of Pittman or whatever, but the assistant coaches that he's hired and the retention of them kind of shows that he allows his coaches to be coached. Like he allows them to coach and not micromanaged. And I think that goes a long way with him. Let's see a few more here too. This one's come from Hogs by 90. I think he asked it like 8 times, but we'll go ahead and get into it. He's like, are you guys buying KJ Jackson being the future? I hope so. I like the kid that sticks around and plays in the system and don't want to part ways with Bobby P just yet.
Here's what I'll say about KJ Jackson. The best thing that ever happened to him, if he wants to be a starting quarterback for the Razorbacks, was Madden Iamaleava getting the hell out of here.
Yep.
Because that would have been tough. And Madden might have been the future, honestly. I think he's real good. I think he's going to wind up being better than his brother. It sucks how the whole thing went down. Whatever. When KJ Jackson got to campus as a freshman, I remember being out there every single day at spring ball. And spring practice is a little bit different because you can sit there and watch them from start to finish. Every drill, every time they go live, all the 7-on-7, every single throw that those quarterbacks made, we were able to sit there and watch them. And KJ Jackson impressed me more than Jacoby Criswell. Yep. In a lot of ways, he impressed me more than Malachi Singleton. He looks the part. Like, I really, really am high on KJ Jackson. I think he's going to be great. I really hope that Arkansas has some games this year where they're able to utilize him, not the, oh crap, Talen's hurt, like we got to get the inexperienced guy in here stat. That's kind of what happened to Malachi. But maybe you're busting up Alabama A&M and you can give them the whole fourth quarter or something, or like some of these other games here. Maybe you do that to Arkansas State. Yeah, I said it. But I think that would be awesome, man, because I think KJ Jackson has a lot of really good traits. I love the way the ball comes out of his hands. He's big, strong, athletic looking kid. I think he's going to be really good. I do. And it made me happy to hear Sam Pittman say what he said about him at Media Day. I like him a lot. They'll go get a portal guy. I know he said we're not going out and looking for the future in the portal or whatever. They'll go get somebody, I would imagine, that's got some experience or whatever, that kind of understands the assignment, somebody to push him, a little bit of competition. But I really do think they believe that, what they say about KJ Jackson being the future at the position there. Yeah.
And I think another point to that is when in the spring was going on, the Madden kid wasn't even in the mix at backup. Like, it was like, no, it's KJ Jackson. It's not like, okay, let's split the reps here. It's like, nope, KJ's the backup. He's the guy. So I think that went a long way too, for as far as how they felt about him. But we'll have more of your chats, folks. We're getting a lot more here too, but first got to get into our heavy hitters here on the show, presented by our friends over at HD Roofing and Construction. We know storms can hit unexpectedly, no matter what. I mean, here in Arkansas, the weather is so unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. Well, the last thing you want to do is be caught in a situation where your roof is having leaks and it's not protecting your household. You got a lot of expensive stuff. Well, make sure that your roof is good to go with HD Roofing Construction. They give you a free inspection because when you choose them, you can rely on that professionalism, that top quality materials are going to be used, as well as expert installation is going to be had for all of your roofing needs. You can call them today at 501-428-0429. That's 501-428-0429. You can also check them out at hdarkansas.com and scan that QR code right there with HD Arkansas. Okay, so a few things for our heavy hitters. I want to bring this one up. This is actually, since we're talking about Razorback football, I always find it fascinating if any national guys or any national people of presence talk about anything Arkansas related. But for those of you who are fans or maybe not fans of it, but how about Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco? They apparently just now discovered that Arkansas has Monty Harrison on the team, who is old. And they had a field day with this. And I just thought it was funny hearing these guys talk about Monty Harrison and have some funny reactions. Take a listen.
Sophomore wide receiver Monty Harrison is turning 30 years old this season.
30?
Harrison played pro baseball for the past 10 years.
Oh,
one of the main pieces in Christian Yelich trade to Milwaukee trade. Mm-hmm. The Arkansas wide receiver Monty Harrison will be turning the big 3-0 on August 10th. Ocho.
Yeah.
He's only a sophomore.
Hey, listen.
That means he could conceivably be playing college football until he's 32. That would be the same age as Patrick Mahomes.
Hey, that's in a sense, now that you said he played baseball first for 10 years, it's understandable. The fact that he still has eligibility and he's trying to live out that dream. I mean, I doubt he gets drafted to the NFL, but being able to go back and get your degree and finish off what you love or a second sport that you do love after already playing in the MLB, I mean, it's a dope thing. I don't know how good he is as a receiver, but even being able to do it with them young bulls out there at 30, I'm sure he's not that much better than everybody else.
So yeah, that was just that. I just thought it was cool.
That's the best analysis I've ever heard come out of Ocho Cinco's mouth, especially on that show, man.
Yep.
And that's exactly how I feel about it. I think it's awesome. It was a cool story, you know, like when we heard about it last year and we didn't really know what to make of it, but I don't know where he's going to be. Like we did the thing for a while there. It was like, and this is the coaching staff's fault, but this is what happens in fall camp is you ask about a particular guy and they're going to tell you all the good things that they do. And we were hearing about him. Oh, he's making some plays. Oh, we might use him at punt return. You know, like all this stuff. And we're like, damn, is this dude going to play? Like, this is kind of crazy. We'll see, you know, what happens for him. And, you know, I hope he gets out there and has a few touchdown catches or whatever, and is able to have his moments there. But regardless of how big of a role he ever winds up having as an Arkansas Razorback or what comes of a football career for him, it's really a cool story, man.
Yeah.
Good for him. I'm glad that there's a pathway for him to be able to do that. And man, what a story he's always going to have to be able to tell there. So I think it's really cool, man.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be like when I first clicked it and I saw it, I was like, oh geez, so they're going to, you know, make jokes or whatever. But I agree. It was good analysis. And it's just funny because hopefully there's not, like, nobody should be mad that Monty Harrison is on the Razorback football team. You know, like nobody should just be like, this waste of a scholarship. This is a joke. It's like, nobody should be mad. It's a cool story. I hope he plays and I hope he's great. Just like last year and just like this year. But hey, at least he didn't hit the portal. That would have been crazy as a 30-year-old hitting the portal and having to deal with all that too. So
I know. And like this from Heartbroken Hog, he's like, that was a shockingly normal response from those two. Yeah, because you told me you had this clip before the show and I hadn't listened to it yet. So I was like, gosh, man, am I gonna have to tee off on these two dudes? No, not at all. They get it. Game recognized game.
Yep.
Unk recognize unk.
Yep. I mean,
exactly
I love
what just happened there. It's
I
good
love
stuff, man. Let's see. I've got a couple small. First off, a heavy hitter. We got to give a shout out to your best friend and confidant, Eli Drinkwitz, on getting an extension through 2029 there. If I heard correctly or saw correctly, it doesn't include a big raise, but he's already making like 9 million plus or something. Maybe they were feeling the pressure a little bit, John, because of you. And they're seeing the relationships that he's already building with Arkansas media. And they're like, we can't lose this dude to the folks down there in Fayetteville. So I don't know if he's reached out to you personally yet to thank you for your contributions, but I think it was noteworthy for sure.
I think I have a meeting later with Jimmy Sexton, and I think we're going to discuss some sort of a cut that I get from the deal. But you know, I love trolling, especially other fan bases. But I tweeted that I was like, man, it's just, you know, I feel like it has to be because of this. And Missouri fans are, you want to go to that school? It's like, golly, man, you just don't even know. Like, this is the joke of it, but it is funny. And I want to, once again, using that, I do want to give a shout out to Coach Eli Drinkwitz. He did not have to join me. He did not have to talk with me. He could have just told me to F off and move on. But he was cool. He went up a little bit in my book, not much, but a little bit. But yeah, that's big time for him. I think it was like he's getting a lot of money for his assistants from that.
That's right. Yeah. And good for him, man, for like championing for his staff and everything. That's a big part of the equation there. That's going to help him quite a bit. I don't like him.
No.
but he's grown on me over the course of the last week. I thought it was really cool. He did the interview with you. I like that for his assistants. And I also did like some of the things that he said about the college football playoff and everything. I know some people took what he said way out of context, and it's like, oh, he wants a 32 team playoff or whatever. That's not what he was saying. I understand exactly what he was putting down there. And what I respect about it the most is like his thought process on it kind of directly contradicts what Greg Sankey wants. And, like he's just not falling in line with everybody else there. So he impressed me a little bit. I'll say that. I'll remove him from the bottom of my list, barely. I don't like him yet. And I probably never will unless he becomes a Razorback head coach. That's just kind of the way it works. It's the way it worked with John Calipari. So, but I'll give him a little bit of credit where credit is due. My other heavy hitter, I'm sure you saw this. I'm still trying to determine if it was staged or not. But did you see the unveiling of like the Cleveland Browns helmet and the photographer here?
Oh yes,
we're gonna play this. And, it's just rough stuff, man. Here we go. Grand unveiling. You got the photographer in the show. Let's watch it one more time.
Yeah, let's say we got to replay that.
Getting the shot with the dude wipes people, and
okay.
Yep.
I got questions here about
okay. All right,
rewind this. Okay, so he knows what he is on, right? Like
one would think.
I don't think that the lake or whatever the river, whatever they're in, just snuck up on him.
It sure shouldn't have.
He's been standing there for a bit, and I get you're into it, man. You are into it, with making sure it looks good. But my thing is how do you just completely? It's not like even it's a big space. So it's like he's been on it. He knows, man. This is tight. It's a tight area, but he acts like it's just there's not even water out there, and he just acts like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go in here and then look at this. Whoop! Golly, man, that's a rough look.
And
what church?
Yeah, like I've heard some people say that based on some of the reaction there on the dock or the barge or whatever the heck that is with him, that they thought it was a stage deal. I'm telling you right now, if you've got an expensive camera like that, you ain't jumping in the water on purpose, I don't think. And also, if he planned on doing that, that was a hell of a sell job because he just stepped somewhere where it was nothing but air, man, and he ate it. I thought it was hilarious.
I did too. And I'm glad you brought that up as well. Cause there's a few things I love when people fall, like we talked about, there's just something funny. Like farts and people falling will never not be funny.
Yep,
so
yeah,
it's
100%.
just, that's great stuff too. And real quick, I just want to bring this up as a side heavy hitter. Cause I wanted to get your thoughts on it, Curtis, but, I know you're an astute basketball coach and you know all about the ins and outs of it. Did you ever have your team do this though, where they were practicing in full football pads? Like, I mean, like this is a legitimate team in a legitimate practice. This isn't the football team playing basketball. No, this is the basketball team trying to get toughened up. So you got to fight up there in the top.
Oh, good.
Like, did you ever be like, you know what? This is what's missing. Like, we need some football here on the basketball court.
We never went full on shoulder pads and helmets. We never did that. That's crazy work right there. Now, what we would do is we would break out the pads, like to hit people with. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we got to get tougher in the paint. You're going to come finish through contact. And the great part about that was Coach Wilk I coached the post players, like they were designed. So it would always be me that would get the pad and just be able to wreck shop on these guys. In today's day and age, I would have gotten fired for some of the things I did to these kids, hitting them with these pads, man. They're going to feel it. Okay. We're going to get and ones at Lindenwood Belleville is where we were at with it. So we would do that. And then we would bring out like the gymnastics mats or whatever for charge taking, like those types of drills. And I was always the designated because we didn't want the players to risk going, like knee to knee or hurt themselves or whatever. So I was the one that would have to dribble baseline and they'd cut me off and I get to drop the shoulder on the guys and they'd have to take the charge and then fall on the mat. Perks of being a bigger dude myself. That's what we would do. But no, we never did helmets and shoulder pads, man. That's crazy.
I mean, again, whatever works, if you're
like
a coach,
a full scrimmage.
Yeah, but it's just like what? Why? Like, what is that going to help you in being a better basketball player? Like, maybe it does, and I'm just naive to it, but I just never looked at that. You know what it reminds me of, Curtis? It reminds me of when our guy Chad Morris, had took away all the Razorback apparel and from the team and said, "You guys are in gray shirts, just wearing gray shirts, your name's on it. It's mental toughness, it's going to toughen you up." And I was like,
"Unplugging the elevators." Yeah,
it's like, all right, yeah, that's what's missing because I'm sure Bama does the same thing. It's kind of the same thing where I'm not saying that you can't find creative ways, but I don't know. That just seems like something you're trying too hard on.
that's a bridge that feels like a bridge too far. I know the football team a couple years ago, the DBs were just getting crazy amounts of holding calls, and so they put them all in the boxing gloves or whatever out there at practice, which was pretty cool. But yeah, that's and let's see. Transplanted Texan says, "Is Southeastern NAIA? If so, even more hilarious." Well, yeah, nearly anything is allowed. That is NAIA, and that's where I coach, and that's why I was able to beat kids with these pads and everything. It wouldn't surprise me at all if that was an NAIA school. And I don't know if it's if that's the case with this particular group or not, but yeah, some things you can get away with, man, at the lower levels. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that's apparently one of them. We'll get into some more of your chats as well as some summer topics. We'll hear from Jay Crane of Crane and Company here in just a little bit as well. But I want to remind everybody that here it's summertime, and Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas is going to have you all set up, squared away to have the best summer of all time, because we know that when it comes to all things being out on the lake and enjoying yourself, it's about being on a boat. But maybe you don't know somebody with a boat, or maybe that you don't want to deal with the hassle with a boat. Well, that's what Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas is able to do for you, where they have locations at Greers Ferry Lake, at Lake Hamilton, and we can have it out in the river there at Little Rock. And they're going to have more coming soon here in the state of Arkansas. They're worldwide, man. They're across the country, and they have different locations. But here in Arkansas, they're growing rapidly because it is a lot of fun, and it makes it so much easier on you to enjoy your time on the lake or on the river. So check out their website to learn more about being a member of the Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. You can go to freedomboatclubar.com. That's freedomboatclubar.com to learn more about joining the club today. All right, so a few of our summer topics, and then we'll get to our quick poll question presented by Alumni Hall, and then we'll hear from Jay Crane. But I'm wanting to bring this up real quick, Curtis. I won't say it's breaking news because it's not official, but it is kind of nice. Just as a thing from Ross Dellinger, he says any expansion of the NCAA tournament for this season is growing more unlikely, per comments of the executives of Charlie Baker. So it says logistics are likely to push expansion if adopted for 2026, 2027. So we'll see. It's probably just curbed. But for this season, upcoming year, looks like the NCAA tournament is going to remain at 68 for that.
Good.
So
good. Do the right thing.
Yeah, it's not that hard, people. It's really not that hard. All right. So on that note, we'll get into this for the summer topics. In fact, one of them, of course, being Arkansas related, which I try to make that a little easier on people because sometimes people don't understand the question, but then I'll ended up asking the question anyway, and people still don't understand the question. So I think I'm just going to keep going with it and roll with see what works. But either way, we'll do a Razorback related one. And for the first one, we'll do sports. How about this? What is the greatest final play in Razorback sports history? Not a play late in the game. Talking about the final play of a game of any sport of any sort. Which one comes to mind?
I think basketball,
of course.
And this is and with basketball, it's a little bit different. I'm anxious to see. I'm sure you've got some football ones. Basketball, it's almost like a final shot or something, as opposed to an actual play. In a lot of cases there, but I think U.S. Reed.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that has to be up there. Not necessarily a huge play or anything, but a hell of a shot. When was that? 81.
Yep. Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville in the tournament. That was awesome. A couple others Qualls.
Yeah.
It's a putback. So like the play produced a shot that was missed, but then you had that one, the dunk right there at the buzzer, which was awesome. A couple that stick out to me. Does Devo's
yes, it counts.
Does that count? Okay.
Yep.
All right, good. Against Auburn, poor Wendell Green.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the game was already in hand, but anytime you can end with a bang like that, that's it's just etched in our memories. It's like that has to be there for sure. And then I would say two basketball ones that are probably a little bit underrated. I think it was that same year. No. Or maybe it was the year. I don't remember. Well, it was the Stanley Amude year. They played Texas A&M.
Yeah.
The game went to overtime, and Arkansas had it won or whatever, but Stanley Amude dunked one at the buzzer of overtime, and it like shut the lights out in Bud Walton Arena. Like as soon as he dunked it, the lights go out. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then my last one for basketball, not the greatest of all time, but I just want to give an honorable mention because people, I think, forget about how critical this was. But this past season, the regular season finale at home, Arkansas has got to get a stop there, and they would have been in deep doo-doo in terms of NCAA tournament. And Billy Richmond locks the dude up, blocks the shot. Arkansas wins there at the in the final seconds, and then they had to carry his cramping body off the court. It's iconic, man.
Yep. No, those are great ones. Because even another basketball one, like I thought of just, I thought Mason Jones 3-point buzzer against Georgia Tech was great.
The Thanksgiving miracle.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thanksgiving miracle.
That's a great pull, John.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
I thought that one was great. Because here's the thing about basketball too. It's like, obviously, if I look at his final play as in the other team can't really make a play. Like if there's 0.6 seconds left, like same thing with quals. I think there's 0.2, but that was one. Also with basketball too, I'm even counting like Devo against Texas Tech locking down Mac McClung, like defensive plays.
That's fantastic.
You could throw out there and doing it that way. So like that's one. Football wise, I mean, you could make a miracle on Markham, one of them, but that's just again, it's not the very end. But I feel like if it's under a minute, then maybe you can count it in football, or like maybe you can count it. But like that one's good. I also remember the overtime plays. I mean, goodness, all the overtime epic games Arkansas's had in football. It's always the final play when it's won, but there's that. And then I was trying to think of, when Cam Little hit the field goal against LSU and did the gritty on the field in overtime. Like that was cool. But yeah, with baseball walk-offs, and there hasn't been a whole lot of walk-off instances, but definitely some there. But yeah, there's just a lot to choose from. Like football side, it's just like Arkansas has not had a whole lot of, other than that Cam Little one. I cannot remember the last time that Arkansas has hit like a walk-off field goal. I think when they beat Ole Miss Burt's last year, because Connor Limpert was so good that year. People forget how good Connor Limpert was. Ole Miss called 3 straight timeouts to ice him, and he still nailed the field goal for the win. So like that one, like, but the point is Arkansas has not had a whole lot of game-winning field goal opportunities as much. So because it usually comes down to that. But
right.
Besides that, though, football-wise, I'm talking not a whole lot. There's some that could have been, that ended up not being.
Yeah, well, we've got plenty of those, man.
Yeah. And hey, how about this for a callback for football? How about the TCU shoving Austin Allen into the end zone in overtime, like the whole Greg Ragnow all and just shoved him in. As
works for me, man.
Yeah,
hey, that was huge. That was good. I want to share a personal one real quick. It's not Razorback related, but it's personal to me. I've been talking about the coaching days or whatever. The coolest thing that ever happened in my coaching career. It was the first year at Lindenwood Belleville that because we started the program over there, and you got to go through 2 or 3 probation years. And then it was, hey, you're postseason eligible. And we were having a great year. Nobody knew who the heck we were. And we were at Freed Hardman in Tennessee. They were the number 1 team in the country, and they were undefeated. And this is an actual play. We drew this up. Yeah. And our man Chicago State transfer Jacoby Anderson with the buzzer beater. I'm going to play it real quick because it makes me happy every time I see it.
Holman Anderson, and Warren, the way it's been the last few minutes.
Look at that hostile crowd.
That's saying that score taker, man. That's great.
Across the player, got it in.
Inside Jacoby Anderson for the win. Oh! Jacoby Anderson!
You can see Coach Wilk running around down there.
Yeah, point out Coach Wilk. Like we got to find out. Hold on, where's Coach Wilk? Like, are you down there standing?
Okay, yeah. So if you look down there on the bench, you'll see all the other coaches. And this was my next to last year as an assistant. Then I had the year as the interim head. But our head coach got so caught up in the moment that he runs out there into the pile. And so you'll see him running out there. I stay a little bit closer to the bench, and you can see me jumping up and down and celebrate, but I'm kind of the guy who's like, hey, we're actually supposed to go shake hands or whatever now. So down here at the bottom of the screen, the tall guy, I'm jumping. If you see the blue guy jumping up and down at the front, and there's two standing right beside each other to the right. I'm the one in the black jacket there, getting a little crazy. So
Okay.
yeah.
Man, that's
Good
awesome.
times, man.
There is
Good times.
nothing more magical and fun than a buzzer beater in basketball. Like, I mean, just seeing the reactions of everybody, the good and the bad, because like on the other side of the arena there, you just saw everyone just put their arms down and just like, dang it.
Oh, yeah.
There's
doing it on the road is even better. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than that, but or better than that, if that's the case. So, okay. So another one's too. How about this? This is pretty simple for food, but I don't know. It's this thing in summertime and everything like that. You a popsicle or you a snow cone guy? Like if you had your choice.
I'm a popsicle guy.
I am too, man.
I like a snow cone, but you got to be heavy on the sauce for me, because I feel like there's too many snow cones out there where you just wind up eating ice by the end of it. And that bothers me, man. It's like, if I had to pick, I'd pick popsicle. I like a good snow cone every now and again, but yeah, popsicle for the dub.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like, because snow cones, again, it's, you said the syrup, man, it's hit or miss. Like, if you don't do it right, it ruins it. But popsicles are pretty consistent. Even the little, what are they called? You know what I'm talking about? The cheap things that every kid's mom had whenever the boys came over, because they're like, we got this 100-pack of. Yeah,
they're like in the little tubes or whatever.
Yeah, use the scissors, and it's just like, what color you want, and they all tasted the same anyways. Like, whatever those were. I mean, I consider those popsicles. So I'm with you on that.
I love that we immediately have Michelle, an Italian, saying Italian ice, and then we have Saint Luigi, we can assume, also saying Italian ice. I like a good Italian ice. You ever had one of those?
It's been a long time, but yes, it was good. Or what is isn't there something with Italian ice cream that's called something?
Gelato,
yeah. Which I'm like, okay, if it's just called ice cream, like why do we gotta? But I know it's Italian, so it means more expensive. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay, and also, since in honor of the Hulkster passing away, who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
Oh man, this is so brutal.
It's tough, man.
My answer is going to be The Undertaker, though.
Okay.
I went through phases, I think, just like everybody else. I was a huge Stone Cold Steve Austin guy for the longest. Then I hated him, and I was a huge Rock guy for the longest. But the consistent for me and the must watch for me was always The Undertaker. There's just nothing. There was no better sense of excitement than when the lights would just randomly go out in an arena, and then you would hear the bell toll.
Yep.
Especially during the time where it was like, like Kane standing in there, and it's like, oh, where Paul Bearer, you remember that dude?
Yes.
And they're just standing in there, and they think, oh, he's dead, he's gone, whatever. And then the lights would start flickering. Even when he wasn't out there, he found ways to keep you captivated by it. The choke slam, electric, the tombstone, one of the best finishers out there. Big Undertaker guy.
That's fair. I'm just going to be honest, though. I was always a Stone Cold Steve Austin guy, and I don't know why. If it was just maybe because he talked like people I knew, so it's just like I related to that, from Arkansas and everything. Not to see he's not from Arkansas, but just the Southern Texan thing, and the fact that he just, I don't know, there was just something about him where it wasn't this over the top, like, oh, he's just like going for his looks, his sexiness and stuff. It was just, I know he's a bald dude with a goatee who's built like a truck. He's got beers in his hands,
double knee braces.
Yes, double knee braces. And and looking back on some of the highlights, I laughed so hard at the absurdity, like completely out of context. Like when he drove in a Zamboni into the ring, driving a Zamboni. Like, why? Well, why not? Same thing when he had the beer truck and he sprayed the corporation with the rock. Like, why? It's just great. It was funny. And with the glass breaking, and JR, and I'm like, my God, that's Stone Cold. And he comes in. I wish I could play it, but one of my favorite highlights ever is when there's it's like is it the WCW versus the WWE? And there's like 25, 30 wrestlers in the ring. And the WWE's getting their butts handed to them, and they're like, nobody can save them now. And then the glass breaks. Stone Cold comes flying in and just gives stunners to everybody. And everyone's like, the place is going nuts. And I'm like, hey, listen, you can say what you want about wrestling being fake or whatever, but there is nothing, especially during those eras, more entertaining than wrestling. Everyone knew it was fake. It was electric, man. It was so much fun.
My favorite Stone Cold bit of all time was when he snuffed out Booker T at the grocery store.
Yes.
And just for like 10 minutes, just destroying that grocery store. It was one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. That was so funny. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I do want to give a shout out. The reason though that I really became a huge wrestling fan was because of Shawn Michaels. The Sweet Chin Music. I would stretch that way. I could do the Sweet Chin Music to any and everything that I walked by there. That was probably my start, I would say.
Yeah, no, that was a great one too. And real quick for a final thing about Stone Cold, one of his most famous clips that people bring up today is, drank a lot of beer. What? Whiskey? What? Tequila? What? More beer? What? More? He just builds it up. That was in Jonesboro, Arkansas when that was held.
Was it really?
Yes, because if you listen to the end of the clip, I wish I could play it, but if you listen to the end of the clip after and more beer, and he says, I wasn't just going to drink in Jonesboro, Arkansas. I was going to drink all night long. And so I'm like, the fact that iconic moment happened in Jonesboro, Arkansas, where Stone Cold Steve Austin was yelling, I'm like, all right,
let's go, man.
Yeah, let's roll with it anyways. Okay, a few final chats. Actually, a few reminders for we hear from Jay Crane. Just tomorrow, Alumni Hall. We're going to be live from there starting at noon, 3417 North College Avenue. Come hang out with us as they got all the brand new football jerseys. That's one of the things that they have for the upcoming football season. I'm going to be curious. We'll probably be rocking them tomorrow, but I'm going to be curious if they have any specific players or if it's just going to be ones in general. Who knows? Maybe they're debuting a new type of style and we'll get the first one to see them. Probably not, because Arkansas doesn't do that very often. But still, they're going to have new jerseys. They're going to have a lot of new apparel for the football season. So come hang out with us, 3417 North College Avenue tomorrow. Also, we're looking for a new account executive, which is just a cool way of saying you're going to do sales for us. But we're looking for a new one. So if you're interested in working with us here at Inside Arkansas and selling the great product that we put out every day and helping out partnering with some local businesses, shoot me an email at johnneighborsmedia@gmail.com. So we got that. And also, I feel like there was something else I was missing too. I don't know. But either way. I'm sure it'll come to me, and I'm sure I'll kick myself later for not remembering it. But either way, there was a chat, and I forgot to start, so I may have to tell you go screw yourself, and we'll get later tomorrow and get into that. But
fair enough.
Either way, sorry, real quick, how to address this? Heartbroken Heart says, "Hey John, are you worried about Justin Fields' toe injury, considering his ability in running?" Because I'm, a bigger Jets fan. No, I don't care. You think Curtis ever gets out on Cardinals? I have been out on the Jets for a while, and the only glimmer of happiness and excitement I had was when Aaron Rodgers came in his first year and he tore his Achilles on the second play of the game. And I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I just can't. So, but of course, I'm not hating on Adam Schefter, but the guy reports is carted off the field with a lower leg injury. And I'm like, oh God, great, sweet. That's on. Now it's it's his toe and he's day to day. Okay, I get, yes, it's technically the lower leg, but man, when you say a lower leg injury with carted off the field, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's his thing though, but
be better, people.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, I'm a Jets fan. It's what we do. So, okay. So we'll hear from Jake Crane and then we'll get out of here. But for Curtis, you got any final thoughts for we hear from Jake and roll out?
No, another good show today. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We're always excited to go out to Alumni Hall. It's been a while since we've been out there with the College World Series and everything like that. And so I'm looking forward to getting back out there, seeing all the cool stuff they have, and come out there and hang out with us. If you have a lunch break or you're in town or whatever, you can get away from 12 to 1:30 or 2 or however long we're out there. It's always cool when folks come out and introduce themselves and everything. Looking at you, Finch. But yeah, come on out. It's a good time when we'd appreciate seeing everybody.
Yep. Absolutely. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hear from our guy, Jay Crane, on what he thinks about the Razorbacks, if they're going to be any good this season. And I guess we'll just have to find out what he has to say about it. So let's go ahead and hear from the guy himself, Jay Crane. Right now, here on Inside Arkansas Live, we're joined by a very special guest, a guy that knows a little bit about college football. Actually, that's a lie. He knows a lot about college football. He knows a lot about the landscape, everything about it, and the Arkansas Razorbacks in the SEC. Hung out with him at Media Days. Didn't get a chance to talk to him then, but that's okay. It's great about technologies. You can talk to him right now. He is Jake Crane of Crane and Company of the Daily Wire. And Jake, man, it's good to see you. I know we had a good time in SEC Media Days, but it's good to talk to you about some Razorback football, man.
John, it's always good to see you, buddy. We always have fun at media days. I couldn't make it for karaoke night. But no, look, it's one of those things where it's such a rat race up there. And now the technology, the barrier for entry is so easy. It's good to hop on. And, I'm going to keep it real with Arkansas fans right now, like you do. So I'm going to, no sugarcoating it.
Well, I think they'll appreciate that because there are plenty of things that Razorback fans may be down on for the Hogs. They were picked to finish 14th in the SEC at SEC Media Days, which is one of the lowest that they've had here in a while. I think the 13th was what they were picked last year. Finished a little bit above that, but just your overall thoughts and feelings of the current state of Razorback football heading into 2025 and being 14th in the SEC, too high, too low, or just about right for you?
Well, that porridge sounds about right. The thing I noticed the most with the Arkansas program, and we'll get to personnel, I'm sure, at some point. And I don't think it's just me. And I've heard you talk about this a little bit. There just seems to be a lack of excitement in the Arkansas football program right now. And look, I love Sam Pittman. Sam Pittman gives us the time of day every time we ask. He's a good old boy. I'm from Lee County, Alabama. But at the end of the day, it's a business, and you got to call a spade a spade. I just don't feel like the excitement level in the present and for the future is there for Arkansas football right now. Well, what I think Taylon Green has a chance to be special, but when you look at this roster, when you look at recruiting, when you look at Arkansas in the context of everybody else in the SEC, you have some teams that haven't played well here lately, but there's still a lot of excitement. They believe this coach is the guy to right the ship, navigate us the right direction in the future. And, even if Arkansas has a decent year, I still don't feel like the excitement's going to be there that Sam Pittman's going to reinvigorate this program and get Arkansas back where they belong. And whenever you hit that lull, this just feels like a stopgap moment for Arkansas. Sam Pittman seems like an interim coach that isn't an interim coach. Like you're just waiting on the next guy, maybe a young guy that you hire to go reinvigorate, like I said. And I feel for Arkansas fans because to me, that's the terminal illness. It's not that Arkansas can't do it or doesn't have the capability to do it. It's just that right now, it just seems dead over there. There's much more. I mean, talking about Arkansas baseball, let's get fired up, right? Talk about Arkansas basketball with Cal. Good God almighty. I mean, there's narratives left and right. There's more Tyson chicken in that building right now there's ever been. But with football, you're just like, well, we'll just see what happens after Sam Pittman, which, at the end of the day, like I said, it's a business, man. You can play your heart out. Not everyone gets a ring, though, as Drake said.
Well, that's the problem. I think Razorback fans are falling into places that you don't want to get left behind in a time of ever-changing things going on in college athletics. And for Razorback football, it's like, Pittman's a likable guy. We all know that. And we know Arkansas has accomplished some here in the past 15, 20 years, but it feels like it's been more bad than it is good. And I think it's what they see is they see programs like Ole Miss that may be on the same playing field that they've been for a long time. Well, they have success. Well, they have a great coach in Lane Kiffin. Say what you want about Missouri, but they've been winning some games. And those are programs that Arkansas feels like they're on the same playing field as, but they don't feel like they have the excitement, the energy, the future of what those programs have as well. So it's just a matter of how you feel with the other programs surrounding you. And Arkansas just feels like they're kind of just there in the SEC and nobody really knows what place they belong in.
Yeah, well, again, how many people outside of, sunshine pumpers in the Arkansas space, and we all got them, are sitting here saying everything's great. The program's been in the best spot it's been in over a decade. If that's the case, then it's worse than what I thought, because I can name 4 to 5 years where going into it, I felt like Arkansas was in a much better place than they are right now. You bring up Ole Miss, that's a good comp. Where did Ole Miss do it? Everybody thinks they did it at quarterback and on offense, all this. They did it at the line of scrimmage. That's how you do it in this sport. That's how you do it in this league. And where it seems like Arkansas has become deficient is the place where Sam Pittman should be the most efficient. I said the same thing about Hugh Freeze. You can't be bad at what you're supposed to be best at. What Sam Pittman was supposed to be best at was getting the line of scrimmage right and then putting the ornaments around the tree and letting Bobby Petrino pull his wand out and do a Patronus spell against everybody. But that's not what we've gotten. What we've gotten is not only a lack of talent in the starting group, and I'm talking about the 5 on offensive line and the 4 on defense, but the depth. The depth is not there. And eventually that's what kills you. So, yeah, when you look at these programs and you gauge the temperature, it just feels like Arkansas is room temp right now. And that's just not sustainable when you have to recruit off sexiness and money. And I know that Arkansas, when they get hot, that fan base supports their school as much as anybody in the country. They will be behind you. I remember when Arkansas beat Texas with Sam Pittman. I mean, that place was bananas. Go to Bud Walton anytime in the near future and see that. Go out there to the Bomb and see that. Arkansas fans will rally. The money will come, but you got to show proof of concept on the field. And for the love of God, excite the people. Get the people. Go Jackie Moon this thing if you have to. But it just feels like that Arkansas right now is in a dead period. And until they get out of that, and typically to get out of a dead period, John, you got to make a big change, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's how I think Razorback fans have been feeling. And you mentioned the Sam Pittman angle of the offensive line. I think that's what's been concerning is the fact that they've been okay at times at offensive line, but never great. But then there's been years that have been bad, and nobody really knows why. I mean, this is a guy that's been around and been in the SEC and coached offensive lines like crazy and have always been elite. And I think they've made improvements, but like, can you figure out or have any idea of why that is, that Sam Pittman, known for being a great, phenomenal, one of the best, if not the best offensive line coach in college football, has yet to really have that level of offensive line here at Arkansas?
Yes, because when you specialize at one thing and then you get hired as a head coach, it's a totally different job. It's like being the Secretary of State and then the president. You have to manage the whole thing. You can't spend all day over with all those 5 stars and those things running around that Georgia had and just worry about that and not worry about anything else. Now you do less coaching as a head coach than you ever did as a position coach or a coordinator or whatever. It is a totally different job. That's why we see, as you can hear my 6-month-old, she agrees right now with what's going on over there. At the end of the day, Sam Pittman is responsible for everything. That's fundraising, that's hiring, that's worrying about things that you're not best at. We saw it with Will Muschamp, right? Some guys are just great coordinators. I'm going to pick this baby up. Come here. Let's go. We got a special guest, John. Special guest.
Hey, everybody would rather see the baby in my face anyway, so that totally works.
Perfect. This is Viola. She loves football. Her mom's an Alabama fan. Her dad's an Auburn fan. But deep down, I've been showing her Cam Newton highlights when her mom's not home. So I'm subliminally messaging her into becoming an Auburn fan.
Well, I think you're off to a good start if you're having Cam Newton highlights. It's a good place to start.
I don't want to show her anything recent.
Yeah, don't want that. But, speaking of that element to it, though, Taylon Green, I know me and you talked about him. Not to say he's compared to Cam Newton, but he is a very tall quarterback. You saw him walking around. I mean, he's 6'6". He almost looks taller than that. He's coming off of a first year where he was all right. I mean, he had some moments. He dealt with some injury, but year 2, Bobby Petrino, year 2 of Taylon Green, just do you think that that's really where, if you're a Razorback fan, you're going to have to rest your laurels and saying, this is why I get excited, is because of those 2 guys, and that's what you got to make sure you get excited about?
Yeah, well, it's been funny, with all these teams that have really good rosters but are starting new quarterbacks. I've been saying these guys don't need to be Batman. They just need to be a really good Robin. But with Taylon Green, he doesn't need to be Batman. He's going to have to be Superman. Because at the end of the day, that's why football is the greatest sport of all time. It's the ultimate team sport. One guy cannot do it. It's the pieces around you that play well, and then you let your elite players take it to that next level. I think Taylon Green did some really good things last year. He's obviously really athletic. He's a long strider. When he gets going, he's not as fast as Matt Jones, but when those guys with long legs get going, they're very, very hard to catch, and angles disappear. And I did see, even throughout the injuries, which he tried to tough out, some growth from the pocket as opposed to what I saw at Boise State, and that's kudos to Bobby Petrino. And he could make a big jump this year, John. But at the end of the day, I mean, if you don't have the pieces around you, you're not balanced offensively. You can't trick everybody every game for 4 quarters. So what I worry about for Talon is, what's the run game going to look like to protect him? How many times is he going to have to say, all right, well, nobody else can do it, so I'm going to have to do it, and take off and run and get beat to smithereens regardless of how big he is because of who you're playing against. And, I actually thought there was a chance he was going to enter the transfer portal. I really did, with the pieces around him, because this is a money year for him. This is a huge money year for him. And he'll make some wow plays. He'll make some owl plays. And typically I say, you want to stay in the pocket and beat people from the pocket. John, I don't know if he can sit in the pocket and beat people with what Arkansas has right now.
Yeah, I don't think there's many people that do believe that. By the way, we're speaking, of course, with Jake Crane of Crane and Company of the Daily Wire here on Inside Arkansas. So, Jake, you mentioned the SEC and the brutality that it can be. It's tough. You got to be tough. You got to be physical to be able to succeed into this league. But I want your thoughts on it. Media days for other conferences are going on. People are taking some pot shots at the SEC, which to me, in one vein, I love it because it's how SEC media days used to be. Used to be some shots getting taken, but now it just seems like some of the stuff that they're saying in the Big Ten and maybe even the ACC is a little, I don't know, you can call it desperate, you can call it weird, because a lot of it's not even based in facts. But just what do you make of this approach that a lot of these conferences and other coaches and teams are doing against the SEC in media days?
Well, I thought the SEC wasn't the best anymore. Why do y'all care? If the SEC is so on a level playing field, why are y'all combining to form the Mega Ranger to attack the SEC during your media days? And what's funny about the Big Ten is you're making the wrong argument. This schedule argument was the one y'all were making when y'all were the whipping boys of college football and weren't winning anything. Now you've won back-to-back national championships. Why aren't y'all just leading with that? Why are you burying the lead? Why are you continuing to push a narrative that when you were down, it was the only thing you could push? It's because at the end of the day, and John, me and you both lost a lot of weight recently, but when I look in that mirror, I still see Fat Jake. I still see him. Sometimes, it's like old boy from Spider-Man staring at the green mask. You just can't get over it to get on that new level. That's where I feel like they're at. And it's a ridiculous, the ACC, talking trash, that's like bragging about being the 4th skinniest kid at fat camp. Like, that means nothing. Nobody really cares. But for the Big Ten, man, I thought y'all were over us. I thought we broke up and y'all were over us and y'all found this unbelievable new good-looking girl whose parents are rich and she's funny and she cooks good. But you're still texting all the side and tweeting out trash about your ex. It just seems to me like they're not over it when they should be over it.
See, that's how I take it too, is just a place that is using any sort of loophole that they can find or any sort of little slight that they can take, and they're taking it even if it doesn't make any sense to anybody. They're still going to take it.
It's little brother actions, like it is. It's 100% little. When y'all actually have the high ground right now, but you don't want to take it. You want to follow that hunchback, show you the goat path, so you don't have to go through the hot gates.
Yeah, exactly right, man. And it's fun too, because I don't know. I've always felt like the SEC, and still do, is superior and they're getting it done. But it's just, do you feel that the conferences besides the SEC are rapidly catching up? They're about to catch up and the SEC is no longer going to be that far away from being the superior? Or you think it's just, hey, this is as close as you're going to get and maybe you have it going on a little bit, but at the end of the day, the SEC is still going to be the SEC, and for years to come, nobody's really going to ever touch it at this point?
Well, I think now with the rules and you look at, obviously, NIL, the transfer portal, things like that no conference and no team will ever monopolize college football the way that the SEC did for that stretch and the way that Alabama did. You're just not able to do it from a retention standpoint and from a recruiting standpoint with the fluidity that we have now. And that's not a knock on what the Big Ten has done. I think what Tony Petitti and that league have done has been smart, and it's obviously reaping rewards on the field. But I don't think this is because of anything the SEC did or just overall because of everything the Big Ten did. I think that's the way the sport is now. You just can't monopolize it, which is a good thing. Because at the end of the day, I always go back and forth, John. Like, sometimes this conference affiliation stuff just blows my mind. Like, the only reason I point out the things that the Big Ten are saying about scheduling is because it's factually just inaccurate. If it was flipped around, I'd say the same thing. But I just want my team to win. Do I care if Ole Miss makes it to the playoff and does well just because they're in the SEC? No, I don't. I'm not going to sit here and carry the flag for the S. They haven't. Greg Sankey hasn't sent me a check yet. But if something is factually inaccurate, outside of my wife, which after being married for 3 years, I just say you're right and move on. Everybody that's married will understand that listening to this. But if something outside of that is factually inaccurate, I'm going to call it out regardless of what side. But this whole like conference affiliation, like somehow you get points, like, or you get like money because the conference does well in the postseason. I just think it's kind of funny.
No, I think it's hilarious too. And I know that we're going to let you go, but I wanted to, of course, bring up somebody you know very well. What's your thoughts on Fred Talley and the running back that is
Hold on, let
former
me cover
Razorback?
your ears. You know, the only way that Arkansas can make the college football playoff this year is if they played every game at 11 a.m. on Jefferson Pilot Sports in Jordan-Hare. You know, when it's Reagan, right? It's
Yes.
Reagan. When she asked me that question, literally, you would think, you know, what's the first Arkansas player that comes to mind? You think like Darren McFadden or Felix Jones or Peyton Hillis. It's Fred Talley. Breaking my heart as a young whippersnapper, getting up all excited. It's Saturday. I can hear the band playing from where I used to live in Auburn. And then I turn it on and watch Arkansas pull our pants down in front of everybody in Walmart and spank us. So yeah, Fred Talley, you know, honestly, if I was driving past somebody and their car was broken down and I stopped and it was Fred Talley, I'm not helping you, dog.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I wouldn't help him either if I was an Auburn fan. But you know, it's at least both of our programs that we care about the most. We're kind of in a weird spot right now, so we just have to relive the glory days.
We're just like, I don't know. We're just trying to find our identity. I will say though, I think there's more enthusiasm for Auburn, regardless of the crazy stuff that's gone on, than there is for Arkansas. But it's not a fun place to be. I want Hawk hands. I'm sick of getting the rawhide wallet.
Yeah, dude, I think everyone can relate to you there in Arkansas.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does a great job. He covers all things college football. It's Jake Crane of Crane and Company of the Daily Wire and does a national show you can catch. But Jake, I appreciate you as well as Baby Crane joining us here on the show today, man.
Yes, appreciate you having me, John. You do a great job. Really proud of you, man. Inside Arkansas is awesome. You guys are killing it. Keep doing it, and looking forward to seeing you again. And listen, I've got to go to an Arkansas baseball game. Okay, I've got to go to one. I went to Mississippi State, and I got to be able to compare. So next baseball season, we're bringing the crew. We're bringing the fam. You good with that? You want to go to Arkansas baseball game? Call them real quick. Woo! Big Suey. Now never do that again. All right, John. Thank you.
Yeah, no one's watching anyways. No one will see it. So appreciate it, man.
Good.